So on the left, the shareholder. He's worked for a number of years in that building.
They were?
On this side. When we, the first time we never did agree with the trilateral agreement. Since this has been going on, there was a lot of fraud in there. They used to pay people to go protest $100 a day from their money. And they bought boards for their supporters. And the ones that didn't want the deal, they split up, and there was politics involved. And one night, Chief went to visit my sister, and he beat up on 2 women, and we threw him out based on that. And then the whole community, because they had jobs now, called us outsiders, so we left. And this is where we're at. This is where we're at now. The next community here, Megan Isaac, is the same thing. We left with them. And,
You left from?
The reserve.
Okay. At Barrier?
Yeah. Barrier Lake is further down the lake.
Yeah.
And, we're people of the land.
When did this happen? How long ago?
A few years ago, I don't know.
Okay.
About 15 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
You want us to come over then?
You know. So we were called outsiders, so we left. And,
You were called outsiders because of this particular position that we took
yeah.
on trilateral agreements. Okay.
And, because we don't beat up on
that New Year, Amaris Matchman, which is Norman Slaughter, beat up a woman and assaulted the other one. And that woman got beat up. It was 10 days in the hospital. And since then, since he did that action, we asked him to step down here. He didn't want to. He fought like crazy. We took him almost a year and a half to get him off there.
And,
Was he the chief?
Step down.
Yeah, he was the chief.
He was the chief at the time.
Okay.
This is who is this? Sorry.
It's Norman's father.
Yeah. Norman
What
was
is
just
his-
a baby.
What's his father's name?
John Maurice Markham. And then he fought his court with band funds. So the trilateral office, whoever finances his defense, paid it. And we didn't agree. He did it on his own.
You mean the case? Which case was it?
John Maurice versus the Queen, whatever.
Okay, but that was regarding logging.
No.
No, that was.
It was regarding his assault.
Oh, okay. Okay, of the women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did they come?
Even the elders asked him to step down.
They
So
would. They would.
So they appointed me to be the spokesperson
Okay.
for the elders, and I asked them, and they didn't.
What is your name?
My name is Joseph Junior Wawatie. Wawatie. Not Wawatie. Wawatie.
Sorry, say that again. Joseph.
Junior.
Mm.
He split his address of chief.
Okay. What does that
It
mean?
means
That
it's
means he chose one side
Yeah.
rather than choose his people.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He called us dissidents.
Mm-hmm.
Dissidents, that's what he called us.
Mm-hmm.
And after we left, they call us outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we had a roadblock here to get services, because they wouldn't offer the services.
Services like.
Health services, schooling.
Right.
Schooling, we had to, anyway. Chucky, you want to talk to me?
I don't know if you know that there's been an investigation on the fraud on the trilateral.
What?
There's a clinic in the reserve, right?
Yeah.
Now. And there's a school, but
Yeah.
it's in very bad condition.
So what is that
The
for?
file number is the fraud investigation that
RCMP
the RCMP did. And after they found out, after they investigated, there was government officials involved.
Mm-hmm.
It was a slush fund for the liberals.
Okay.
And
Okay,
So the guy upstairs told him to shut it down.
shut it down. Now they're forcing us to have an election, democratic election.
Yeah, we saw the sign for it in
Yeah.
one of the shops. down-
They're forcing us to have democratic elections.
Yeah.
So so they can apply the Indian Act, or I don't know.
Right.
Section 40 something.
No, Section 74.
Oh, right.
It's 74, I think. that's
Section
right.
74
Yeah.
just states that of the election, how it's going to be under the Indian Act.
Okay.
They know that they're under the Indian Act because they live on the reserve.
Okay.
It doesn't apply to us when we're outside.
Okay. I see.
So, based on the film by Richard Desjardins, we're the invisible people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now we're speaking up. We're speaking up. We don't want the trilateral. We don't want to cut. We want an actual healing forest for our purposes.
So, can you talk about a little bit about today's action, and like over at that site?
I'm just wondering if we should record this.
With this magazine in that judge. Yeah.
Zara wanted to ask some questions.
Also, I can make the video or even just the audio available to you if you want transcription later.
Yeah, should we do? Can I do the recording now?
Okay.
I'll have to sit closer to you.
We clean that up.
Indigenous women and.
You should start on somewhere smart one.
Sorry?
You should start on somewhere smart one. Beating up
Anyway.
Norman's father.
Anyways,
Oh, okay.
He appealed his judgment. His sentencing rather, based on the fact that was a diplomatic, not a diplomatic, but a political stunt, political takeover.
Right.
So that's what he based it on. But he went in there and beat up those women. And the fraud investigation is still open. They want us to have a democratic election so that the chief can sign whether they're going to reopen it.
Reopen what?
The fraud investigation.
Against the.
The former council, which was running
Okay.
the trilateral.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I think so.
I'm just a little confused about whether the fraud investigation is that related to John Morris?
Yeah.
Okay. How can you just explain how they're related?
The fraud investigation,
Yeah.
they used to charge out of the band funds or our band funds and charge the trilateral office at the same time. So they would have double the expenses,
Double billing.
double billing.
And
they
who
have
is the Quebec government?
no, the band council.
The band council would charge the band council as well as the trilateral.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was during when he was chief, right?
And they got used to living the riches from that. So that's why we don't trust them anymore.
There were supposed to be 100 houses in Barrier Lake. That money disappeared when they got it. So we seen a resolution made by them, and them house. See how Rapid Lake is? There's a couple of streets there. They're all up in the bushes, like sort of. Well, those are the places that were supposed to have them, and they never did. So what did they do with that money?
So is he still the chief?
Sorry.
No, but his son is representing Barrier Lake group there.
You mean Norman?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the money that comes from the trilateral agreement isn't being used by the, like, in a way that is...
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they should get out on the land. They should get out on the land and take their food from the land. That way they'll know. They'll know their connection to the land. But they don't. They lost that connection because they're sitting home watching TV, running water, everything. That's what they changed for their rights. It's just like in South Dakota. If you don't use your land, you lose it. So when they brought in the casinos, they gave up sovereignty. That's why the law applies. And the traditionals don't have nothing to say about it. And this is what the problem is. Because they want the luxury of running water. And then those roads are going to be open, it's going to be full of moves, they're going to kill them all. And right here, they just slogged this area. They used to go back there, these people. Now they have to go further now. And they have no funds, they have no money. Because they choose that. They choose that because the land is not for sale. The trees are not for sale, the animals are not for sale. So we're fighting the deal between third-party group. They're the third party. Benefit from that deal.
But what's your position on the blockade today? I mean, they are trying to stop the...
They're trying to give the government's attention so they can make a deal. And they're using all means, including their allies, the supporting group. They're using that to force the government to deal, to listen to them. And we try to get acknowledged by them that the Anishinaabe Council of the One Nation. They won't adhere to it because they would lose power.
You mentioned that some people had been paid before to appear at protests. Do you think some of the people who were there today were paid?
No, but they're looking forward to it.
You mean once they've made a deal, they're looking forward to that money?
Yeah, they're going to have privileges.
Well, so what do you think is a good strategy to take in terms of protecting the land from?
To try and talk to them in today I went to see my uncle. That's not his trap line. That's our family trap line. And he's using our territory for his game. He's gonna make a deal on this game. What we say, it takes consensus. If they want to protect the land, they're gonna have consensus if they want to protect the land. If they're gonna strike a deal, they're never gonna have consensus because we don't deal.
Well, some people have said that, and I don't know what you think about this, that by using this strategy, at least they have some room for negotiation. Whereas if you strike no deal, they will cut everything, and they'll be, because the government.
That's why it's illegal. They never consulted our family for the cuts. And if we say no, they're gonna say we've consulted you.
Oh, so you think that no matter what, the mere fact that they talk to the government would be used by the government as consultation. They will portray it as consultation regardless of whatever.
Whatever you say.
Yeah. So you think that it's a bad idea because of that?
Yeah. Well, it's not a bad idea, but the answer is no. So whether or not we're being consulted, they're going to cut anyway. This is unceded Anishinaabe land.
Yeah. But do you see, like, what do you think is a better strategy then? What should happen? What should people do?
I think they should listen to us. They should listen to the people of the land.
And if they did, what would you advise them to do?
Go back to the land. Get off the reserve. Those trees there that are going to cut, that they're going to plant. My grandchildren have the same problem. Because those trees are not paid by us. Paid by the government. And it belongs to the government now.
Okay, so that would give the government a way to get into the territory.
Yeah.
And
we want to do what we want to do on this land.
so, but the fact that people are living in the reserve and are not on the land, do you think that is helping the government to continue logging and get deeper and deeper into the land?
I think so because that's where they get their funding. That's where they get their funding.
Yeah.
To create jobs.
Right.
They get their funding from where?
From the government.
You mean who gets the funding? You mean the reserve?
The reserve.
You mean because the reserve exists, that is a reason for the band council to get funds from the government.
Yeah.
Do you think you can give a bit more background context to the trilateral agreement? How did it come into being, and how did you take a stance against signing it?
It had something to do with a lawyer. The lawyer saw means to get money. He knows the programs. He knows the programs at Indian Affairs. He knows Indian Affairs has a fiduciary duty to protect these lands. And that's where he got the idea. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but can you elaborate a little bit more? Like at the time when it came into being, what actually happened? You know, was there a conflict within the community? How did you decide that you don't really want to be a part of it? In terms of the
protecting the land, we were there. But when they signed the deal, we thought it was a good idea at the time. But it turned out it was a slush fund.
What about it did you think was a good idea?
They got the government to listen. They got the government to listen, and well, I always say, Jacques Cartier discovered America. Now, there's some work left to do. Discover the people of Turtle Island, people of the land. They just set us aside, put us in reserve. They're finally hearing us, but they bought us. But they didn't buy all of us. We're not for sale.
So, if everyone moved off the reserve, then
They protect the land.
and then would you take direct action to protect the land from logging companies through blockades?
Well, we'd settle the issue on jurisdiction of the land, which was never done.
Can you explain what that means exactly?
Quebec got it from Canada. Canada had no jurisdiction. He didn't have, he got it from England. But what about us? What do we have to say about that? We have something to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never been done.
So the trilateral agreement only applies to the people who are staying on the reserve? Is that what the government would qualify to be the community they're supposed to be in consultation with? Is that how it's differentiated?
Okay, it's a long story. It comes from the Turtle Island story. And people have one major river running through their territory. And us Algonquins, we call ourselves Anishinaabe. That's our real name. That's who we want to be known as, not Algonquins. They called us Algonquins to locate us geographically.
Okay,
But we're Anishinaabe,
that's right.
okay? So, the Ottawa River, that's where our genetics come from. Our DNA is along that river. The St. Maurice River, the Atikamek's DNA is in that river. The Saguenay River, etc. all over the turtle island. That genetics come from the rivers. And they didn't know, they don't know that. So they split us up in different sections. Grand Lake, Lac Simon, they all live on the Ottawa River. They forgot to question that. What's our belief? Our belief comes from the land. So we have yet to re-educate the population about who we are.
Right.
And they haven't done that. They don't want to hear this because they have an economy to get rolling.
You mean the government?
Yeah.
I have some questions that might add some context. The first one would be, why was there a name change from Rapid Lake to Barrier Lake? And the second question is, do you feel like there's a danger of another agreement being signed that will allow the logging? And if that agreement is signed, what do you intend to do?
Okay. And I think it was around 1950 there was a fight at Barrier Lake, and they divided themselves between half-breeds and full-bloods, whether they were full-bloods or not. So they sent the half-breeds across the lake at Barrier. So then my grandmother moved to Rapid Lake, and the church also followed, built a church there, and the people started moving there. And the people from Barrier Lake stayed behind. And they only had themselves to represent. So they came over. The old man who was living at that time was David Makakus. He says, so you joined the half-breeds. So that was it. But the name was called Rapid Lake. But they took over the leadership, and they named them Barrier Lake because they wanted to keep it, because they were from Barrier Lake. That's why we call ourselves Rapid Kitaganik Anishinaabe, which means place of gardens. Gardens. There was gardens over there. That's why they moved there. So
Rapid Lake?
yeah. But they brought their name over, and they changed their name because they wanted to keep the leadership. And they're still doing that today. It's not Barrier Lake, it's Rapid Lake. Barrier Lake is further where we left them. They came over.
And so if they sign an agreement?
If they sign an agreement, what was the last question?
If they sign an agreement like the trilateral agreement like they did last time, which allows for money in exchange for logging.
We consider them in the Indian Act Council, and they're third party interest, and we name them Indian Affair agents, and we're gonna have to fight whatever it is they're gonna sign, because we don't agree on selling the rights to the trees.
And some people from this community have been saying that this is the last stand.
Yeah,
Why are they saying that?
because the North Plan is coming in, and it's part of the U.S. strategy for defense. So if we let them through, this time, they're gonna all take the resources and use that excuse for defense. And they're gonna take the riches from the land. Some Crees don't agree with the North Plan. Some Inuits don't agree with the North Plan. Some Inuits don't agree with the North Plan. But they feel alone now. They feel left out.
You think majority of the people in the community actually agrees with the Plan North?
I can't say,
Okay.
but we know that these people don't agree.
Yeah, yeah. But you feel that they're not, probably not in the majority.
What's that?
So, but you feel that people who do not agree, they're not in the majority. That's your sense?
Well, democratically, probably not.
Okay.
But traditionally, they have a right.
Sure. Yeah.
They have a right to be heard.
What kind of actions are Indigenous people across Quebec taking against the North Plan? Have you been in communication with other communities and collaborating on actions to oppose this project?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about what kind of actions you've been taking?
Not at this time. Not at this time. Remember, we're the Anishinaabe nation of one nation. We don't do it only for us. We're doing it for others too. Have one voice, one heart, one mind. Protect the land. Protect the future of our children.
So, do you think if there are no negotiations with the government about the logging that's going on right now,
Okay.
as we speak, do you think that the logging is going to stop?
I don't know. Personally, I'd say clean up your act. Clean the rivers. Clean the rivers from the sunken logs until you find other means, environmental means to acquire the moisson harvest, because the land can only supply so much.
Yeah. No, if the logging continues, then it's completely devastating for the land, for the resources,
Yeah.
for animals, for everything.
Who's speaking on behalf of little birds that are in the nest? Who's speaking on behalf of the little animals that are in their little dens?
Mm-hmm.
The land is a living being. The earth is a living being. Female energy, life givers. We gotta get back to respect. we know how to be gentle. There's a medicine called the Three Sisters. The squash, the bean, and the cucumber. All together, they create synergy. If we know how to take this synergy and take it gently, the earth will be in a better position to heal.
Okay.
There's our way is the elders, when the elders speak, they guide you. And when the young people take action, they're led by the women. Because the women knows that you have to be gentle. And they don't have that in the democratic system. The women had the right to vote, I don't know, since it's a patriarchal society that's ever seen in the land. Run by men. Run by the sword. We need to teach them that. That's why we want an area that we can share our knowledge. Not to get jobs and watch TV. We're busy out here. We're busy out here. We have to cut our wood ahead of time so we can do other things. They got electricity over there. That's not what we want. In a place of our own, we want a right to exist on our lands. The Creator put us here. He didn't put us on the reserves. We want to have a right to speak. Including in your rally in Montreal for the Algonquins of Boreal Lake, so they can sign a deal. Coincidentally, the river that passes in that territory is called Jean de Terre, people of the land. We have the right to be heard. The government is contradicting its own law based on the Supreme Court of Chilcotin case. Our land is older. Our land is older than any man-made law.
What was that case about? The Supreme Court case?
The Indians had to prove, based on defending their land, they had to prove that they were an organized society. They have clan mothers.
Okay. In order to
to be recognized as.
Pardon?
In order to be recognized
Yeah.
as a people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were able to prove that.
Okay. But if people are more scattered, you think there are other people who were not able to prove that and they couldn't get.
Well, when my mother was a child, she went to boarding school. She went to Kenora, Ontario. Yeah. Then after she went to that school, we all went to that school. Some of us forgot the ways. Some of us forgot the teachings. In the residential school, it was a little place. It was like a jail, so you had to. There was politics in there. What do you call that? Bullying. So that's what reserves are.
Okay, I see.
So they're used to. They're used to, because that's how they grew up.
Yeah.
What are some things that you see outside communities, like our communities in Montreal, doing in order to act in solidarity with people of the land, traditional people of the land?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Does that mean we don't have a voice with you?
No, that's what I mean. I'm trying to ask, what are the ways in order for us to give you a voice and to act in solidarity with you in order to spread your message and things like that?
First of all, we don't agree with the Crown. Those who associate with the Crown, we don't agree with them. This is our land. No one has a right to take it away. Huh?
I don't want the Because when we look at your blogs and stuff like that, we see a lot of misinformation on your blogs. Like the whole story is not sent out like equally, properly, you call it. Because we dealt with the solidarity group a while back, and they were pretty nasty to us. They just so we're very leery who we talk to.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's always been one-sided. No matter who we talk to, it's always one-sided. It shows who had the money and who was in power. That was very obvious.
APTN come right away to Barrier Lake. Because Russell Bible is a shareholder of APTN. So anything that is against Barrier Lake, he rejects it. It's a control media.
Who is Russell?
Dibbles, that's one of the consultants got fat on our money.
Okay, he's Indian.
Yeah. Along with Dave Nawagabo.
Okay.
Now Bruce Byford is working for Quebec government now. He was working for Barrier Lake.
What was his name?
Bruce Byford. He called us the other day. He told me straight out, they're gonna cut anyway. So he's trying to bring us consultation papers to say he consulted us.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and he's saying that because they're going to do anyway, so just sign it.
Groups in Ottawa,
Yeah.
Montreal, or wherever they come, like IPSMO, or I don't know what the groups that you've been working with that have come here.
There was groups from, I'm not sure which, they were from Montreal. Because I personally talked to one of them, it was Martin Lucas, at that time, and we tried to explain our situation, what was going on with the trilateral agreement and everything, the fraud that went on, and he didn't want to hear it. He just basically badmouthed me on the phone.
Did you have any experiences with anyone else in that group?
After that, I just didn't bother talking to them. Because we don't need that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's happened over the years, and we have a lot of experience with people that live off the reserve. It's just too bad. Even the APTN is always the same situation.
What's going on?
I really don't know right now. You can ask Tina.
So there's a bus that just came by, eh?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What do you think that bus is, Lisa?